As the sun slowly dipped behind the Marine Corps War Memorial in Arlington, Virginia, the sky glowed in shades of gold and deep orange. Standing quietly beneath the towering statues of soldiers raising the American flag was an elderly man in a Marine Corps uniform, his posture calm, his eyes full of memory. To many he looked like just another veteran, but in truth he was something far more rare. He was the last living Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Iwo Jima, one of the bloodiest and most important battles of World War II. That man was Herschel Woody Williams, a living link to a moment in history when young Marines fought through fire, smoke, and unimaginable danger to secure a future they might never see. In September of 2020, during a sunset parade at the Marine Corps War Memorial, Woody Williams stood not only as a guest of honor, but as a symbol of sacrifice itself. Surrounded by Marines, senior officers, and fellow veterans of World War II, he represented a generation that answered the call when the world was in crisis. The Battle of Iwo Jima was not just a fight for an island, it was a brutal struggle for survival, where every inch of volcanic sand was paid for with blood. Woody Williams had been there, facing enemy fire with nothing but courage and duty. Now, decades later, he stood in peace, honoring the brothers he lost and reminding us that the freedom we enjoy today was built on the bravery of men like him. The sun was setting behind the Marine Corps War Memorial in Arlington, Virginia. As golden light washed over the famous statue of Marines raising the American flag, a quiet figure stood nearby. He wasn't standing for applause. He wasn't there for attention. He was there to remember. Herschel Woody Williams, the last living Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Iwo Jima, stood beneath a monument that symbolized everything he and his fellow Marines had fought for. Around him were young Marines in dress uniform, their faces serious, their posture proud. But none of them had seen what Woody had seen. None of them had walked across a beach where thousands of men were cut down in minutes. None of them had stared into the mouth of enemy bunkers and kept moving forward anyway. Woody was not just an old man at a ceremony, he was a living chapter of history. He was a reminder that behind every famous photograph and every war memorial are real people who endured unimaginable horror so others could live in peace. That evening in 2020 was more than a parade. It was a moment where past and present stood together, honoring courage, sacrifice, and the men who never came home. Herschel W. Woody Williams was born in West Virginia, far from the beaches of the Pacific and far from the chaos of global war. Like many young Americans of his generation, he grew up during the Great Depression, learning the value of hard work, family, and resilience. When World War II erupted, he answered the call to serve. Joining the United States Marine Corps, he could not have known that his path would lead him into one of the most brutal battles in military history, the Battle of Iwo Jima. Woody became a flamethrower operator, one of the most dangerous roles on the battlefield. His job was to move forward under heavy fire and destroy enemy bunkers that trapped and killed Marines. These bunkers were often hidden, heavily fortified, and deadly. Every step forward meant risking everything. During the battle, Woody's courage and determination stood out among thousands of brave men. His actions saved countless lives and earned him the Medal of Honor, the highest military award in the United States. Decades later, as a retired Marine Chief Warrant Officer, Woody Williams continued to serve his country by honoring fallen veterans and supporting Gold Star families. By 2020, he was the last living Medal of Honor recipient from Iwo Jima, a living reminder of a generation that changed history. The Battle of Iwo Jima began in February 1945 and quickly became one of the deadliest fights of World War II. The island was small, but its importance was massive. It held airfields that could help American forces get closer to Japan, but the enemy had turned the island into a fortress. Beneath the volcanic sand were tunnels, bunkers, and machine gun nests, all designed to kill anyone who tried to advance. Woody Williams landed with his fellow Marines on beaches that were instantly filled with gunfire. Men fell all around him. There was no cover, no safe place to hide. As a flamethrower operator, Woody's mission was to take out the enemy's strongest positions. Again and again, he moved forward alone, crawling through smoke, explosions, and bullets to reach enemy bunkers. He used his flamethrower to destroy positions that were holding back entire units of Marines. Each bunker he cleared meant dozens of lives saved. Each step he took forward meant risking his own. He did not retreat. He did not hesitate. He kept going, driven by loyalty to his brothers in uniform. His bravery during those days on Iwo Jima was so extraordinary that it earned him the Medal of Honor, not for one act, but for a series of fearless actions that turned the tide of battle. On that evening in September 2020, as Herschel Woody Williams stood at the Marine Corps War Memorial, he represented more than just one man's story. He stood for every Marine who stormed the beaches of Iwo Jima. He stood for every soldier who never came home. He stood for the idea that courage can live far beyond the battlefield. Even in his later years, Woody continued to honor the fallen by supporting families who lost loved ones in war. He believed that remembering sacrifice was just as important as making it. As the last living Medal of Honor recipient from Iwo Jima, his life became a bridge between the past and the present, reminding us that the freedoms we enjoy were paid for by men willing to give everything. Woody Williams did not seek glory, he simply did his duty when it mattered most. And as the sun set over the memorial that evening, it was clear that his legacy would never fade. His story teaches us that true heroes are not defined by fame, but by their willingness to stand firm when the world needs them most.